Like me, we got a little bit of extra weight on, so it's nice to feel a cool breeze every now and then. But it's an honor to be here. I'm privileged tonight to have my mom and some of my family here this evening. I'm just tickled to death. I don't get to see her a lot anymore. Love you, Mama. Danny probably mentioned I'm from Brunswick, Georgia. I grew up down there. I had my daddy was a preacher, and I had wonderful parents. They brought me up in the ways of the Lord, and I thank God for that opportunity to be able to be brought up under good preaching and Mama teaching us and stuff like that. Something else my family had that was different than a lot of families. My family had a family group that traveled around. Even before I was born, I was on stage. You know, my mom was pregnant. She sung the high part, and my daddy sung the bass. And I thought that was incredible to be able to be brought up under that umbrella of gospel music. Also, I was able to go to a Christian school. I thank God for that. Mom and Daddy fought and did everything they possibly could to make sure that me and my brother and sister were able to be brought up in a Christian school. You know, I started traveling when I was 17 years old. Before I finished school, I started traveling with a full-time group. I moved all the way to Fort Worth, Texas. You'd ask Mama, she probably did a lot of crying, you know, missing me and everything. But what she don't know is I did a lot of crying myself because I was only 17. I was a greenhorn. I didn't know where I was in the world, you know. But I came back home shortly after that, and I was miserable there for a while because I thought I was a failure at going and singing bass in a family group, you know, and not succeeding very well. So I was downhearted. We went to a Cathedrals concert in Jacksonville, Florida. I didn't know it at the time, but I sit there and cried through the whole thing, and I was under conviction. Didn't realize it. I was wondering what I just started living meant. I was wondering what all those songs they were singing meant. Just a few weeks later, I went to a Sunday night service at my home church, and I sit back here in the corner and came in kind of late. And I got there and I asked these girls I was sitting with, I was asking what was going on. I said, well, just got back from a Christian teen youth camp. Revival broke out. Kids were getting saved and touched by the Lord, rededicating their lives. And some called into the ministry and everything like that. And what really got my attention was when my very, very best friend Philip came walking up on the stage there. He couldn't even hardly talk. He was crying the whole time. And I knew Philip, and it was real. Telling about how the Lord had saved him the week before. And for the first time in my life, I started questioning my salvation. I said, if Philip's lost, then I must be lost. I started thinking, the more I shut my eyes and the more I closed my eyes, I tried to think about everything else in the world. But that night, God had a bullseye on me. He was going to get me that night. I got down here as soon as I possibly could. I said, Lord, if you can save an old sinner like me, please do so. Let me tell you something. I was 19 years old that night, and I felt like I could fly after I got saved. I'm 54 years old, and let me tell you, I could fly right now. Thank God for the goodness and the grace of God. There's an old song Gold Seeded's been doing for a long time. It talks about salvation better than I ever could. It says, when he reached down his hand for me. Once my soul was astray from the heavenly way. I was wretched and as vile as could be. Then my Savior in love, He gave me peace from above when He reached down His hand for me. Now my heart it does rejoice when I hear His sweet voice in the temple to Him. from our heart since he reached way